Holly, welcome to the podcast. I am so excited that you're here today because I know you're going to be able to offer a lot of great information to the listeners and those that are viewing. So let's just start out by talking about you and what it is that you do.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to be here today. I help successful real estate agents build wealth through investing. So they've already built a leg in working with clients, and now they realize that they're going to need to buy some investment properties themselves if they're ever going to get financially free the way that they'd like to.
Oh, that's really kind of cool. So, how did you, well, let's just dig into a little bit more. Who might be an ideal client for you?
Yeah. So it's an agent who has found a level of competency, right? Like they like what they do. They sell 15 plus houses a year. They sell, a lot of my clients are selling 70, 80, 90, 100 homes a year. And they
Wow.
have found that they're really good at what they do. And they get on this just cycle of chasing commission check after commission check after commission check. And as you know, any commission-based industry doesn't come with a built-in retirement plan. So
It's
there's
true.
this kind of weird fear off to the side that while what they're doing is working fantastically now, they don't want to be that 85-year-old who's still selling houses because they never figured out how to become financially free.
That's actually quite brilliant because they're good at it.
Yeah.
So they can just essentially help themselves and with their own investment in that regard. So where do you come in?
Honestly, what I found is that being a great real estate agent doesn't translate to you accidentally becoming a great investor. Like they're two different skill sets, and you use a lot of what you learned as an agent to really feed that becoming a great investor, but they're two different things. It's two different intentionalities, right? And so it's combining here's what you already know in the agent world, and now let's translate that into you as the investor. So I provide workshops, I provide a monthly membership, I have one-on-one coaching, and really my goal is to help take these agents who have proven they know what they're doing. They really have knowledge and skill set that they can lean on, and really just translate that into now let's build wealth for your family that's going to last for generations.
It's really, really cool. And I'm going to assume it's mostly residential property, but am I wrong in that? Or are people getting into commercial too?
Yeah, there's a smidge of commercial. The bulk of what I like to have the conversations around is residential real estate. And if you found what I see is most agents that have a big level of success inside of residential real estate, at some point they're kind of interested in dipping their toes into commercial. But again, it's two totally different skill sets, and it's learning two totally different sets of businesses. So I tend to keep the conversation around residential real estate, but a lot of it does apply into commercial as well.
If they choose to be super adventurous and
Right.
go off that way. That's great. That's really, really neat. And I didn't know that, well, I didn't know there was such a thing. So it's kind of cool that you're here because then, people will be able to reach out to you if they have that need. And I will have your information in the notes to the podcast so they can reach out to you. But is it like a timed program? Is it just ongoing coaching? Is it, how does it work?
Yeah, so the workshop is where I tend to tell most people they need to start. If you've got a little bit of background in real estate, I'm probably not your person for just the random anyone who wants to become a real estate investor, right? Like I specifically like having the conversation with real estate agents because we have a common base knowledge, and I'm not teaching a lot of the really intro things because you already know how to analyze a property. You already know how to run comps. There's just a whole skill set and a whole language that we already have in common.
Hmm.
And so when I run across someone, usually the workshop is the best starting spot for them. It's a day and a half. It's a focused 12 hours. I'm spreading it out into 3 4 hour chunks, but it's a focused 12 hours of here's your intro investor talk. Here's your intro, right? Everything that you're going to really need to systems and models to put in place to make this successful and also not kill your agent business because that's
Oh,
where the
yeah.
extra income comes from, right? We can't just jump ship and now all of a sudden
Hmm.
you're an investor and you're not an agent. And so we start with the workshop, and then after that, your path would be probably either into my monthly membership, which is just a 1 hour a week intense group focus on let's keep building what you started with,
Mm-hmm.
or I have clients that are interested in the one-on-one coaching after that. So
Cool. And they can just go on for infinity if they like, if they wanted to keep meeting with you.
yeah, as long as we're both having the conversations we're enjoying having.
Okay,
I'm
that's
really
a great statement.
yeah.
We're done.
There are
No,
times
you're
that
right. You're right.
the relationship has just run its course. I used to really be of the camp that coaching was forever. And while I actually do believe that those of us who find a level of success in business will constantly seek out coaches, I don't
Hmm.
think it's hardly ever the same coach forever, if that
Yeah,
makes sense. And sometimes it's because you're growing faster than your coach and you ultimately get to a spot where you need someone new who's at the next level. Sometimes your coach is growing just as hard and faster than you, and the relationship has just run its course. Like it's just time for someone new, and that's okay.
that's excellent commentary because I think sometimes people feel like they're stuck and sometimes just getting another opinion even is a great idea. So I love that you mentioned that. So I'm going to ask probably the obvious question. So were you a real estate agent before you decided to do this?
Sure was. Sure was.
Well, then what made you decide to make a switch?
So right after college, I was a high school math teacher. And I taught for 6 years, and there's a whole lot of teaching that I really loved, primarily the light bulb moments. Like you could tell those kids that aren't your typical math students, you could just tell when that light bulb went off, and it made my day. I moved into real estate primarily because of the opportunity to work less.
Yeah,
I had ran all my numbers, and if I sold 4 houses a year, I could teach and sell 4 houses a year and not do all of the summer school and tutoring and homebound and all the extra stuff that teachers do to make a little bit extra income.
right.
And I ended up selling 14 houses in 7 months as a full-time teacher. So it's kind of a no-brainer to move
Yeah,
into real
yeah.
estate. And then about 4 years after I got into real estate, I got the opportunity to begin coaching, which just married both the worlds. It was
I
everything
was
I
gonna
loved about
say
teaching.
it seemed natural. It's like a natural progression
Totally.
because you definitely learned like a whole field and then you were good at it and then you can go ahead and teach others and kind of go back to your roots. Which of course now makes me want to know what did you do as a kid when you were fun that was fun and entertained you that you couldn't wait to do, say in the summer or on a snow day or things like that? What excited you?
Yeah. So as a little kid, I did all the normal things. We climbed a bunch of trees in the backyard. I had tea parties. I had so many tea parties, like parties. Um, but as I got a little bit older, when I was in sixth grade, I had the opportunity to go on a missions trip to Mexico, and I forget the amount. We had to raise like $200 or something like that, and they handed us a brochure and set us free upon the community to go sell T-shirts door
Oh
to door.
wow.
And I loved the experience. I loved getting to knock on the doors and talk to
Oh my
people
goodness.
and figure out what their needs were and then help them find the product that fit their need. And it just was really fun. I went on between sixth grade and 12th grade. I went on 7 trips. I went to Mexico.
Girl.
I went to Washington, D.C. multiple times. I went to Philadelphia. I went to Pennsylvania, and I went to Scotland my senior year.
Wow.
And I paid for all of it through door to door sales. So that really, when I think about what made me happiest as a child, it was that I was completely in control of my destiny. I could go wherever in the world the school would take me if I would just go and sell X number of calendars or X number of t-shirts door to door.
I love that so much because it just basically illustrates, that is your superpower because not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
Some people would be super petrified to just go door to door. I remember just selling even just candy bars for school or what have you. And like I said, I just couldn't wait for it to be over. The sale was great, but man, door after door. But I love that, that kind of charged you up and you got to
And
do
it
so much.
it all kind of fed into, the real estate thing, right? There was an adrenaline rush when I first got started selling houses in real estate. Actually, the summer before I got into real estate, I flipped furniture.
Oh,
Because what else are
cool.
you going to do? And so I would buy these dressers at garage sales. Sometimes I would wash the front of them. Most of the time, I would just take a picture of them literally at a garage sale. And the goal was to post it on Facebook Marketplace and go find a buyer before I had to unload it in my garage that evening, right? And
It's in my
so
car. I'll drive it right over.
that's right. It's all just become this weird culmination of improving on who I literally already was as a kid and getting to a point of how can I help you solve your biggest problem, which now is um, we all want to be financially free, and the path to get there isn't crazy clear.
That's really, really cool. I just, like I said, just feeds so much into what you do right now. So how long have you been doing this?
I've been a coach for just over 7 years.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's great. And are you, I'm assuming you're not bored with it yet, that you're still very charged up when you get to meet with people and have them reach success.
Yeah, it's really fun. And I've gotten more and more clear in the last 7 years on the conversations that I enjoy having, right? Like I want to talk the investor talk. I'm not the person if you're looking to scale your business from you an assistant up to 20 buyer agents, right? That's great. And there's a coach out there for you. That's just not me. So the more clear I get on the conversations I enjoy having, the more that fuels the passion for continuing to learn and improve and be the best I can at my trade.
All right. So you got really good at this and then you really wanted to, I'm going to assume just kind of amp up what you've been doing with these special powers you have. But what was it really that kind of switched you over to say, look, I'm kind of done selling houses. Maybe you still do, but I kind of want to do more. I want to be able to teach people this. What made you decide to take that step?
Yeah. Well, I've been really clear. When I first got into real estate and I was still a teacher, real estate was the thing I got to do after work, right? And then as we merged over time, real estate was super fun for a lot of years. And then coaching was the thing I got to do after real estate, right?
Yeah.
And so far in these 7 years, coaching has continued to be that thing. It's that thing I get to do. And not every single one of my clients, if I'm being honest, but a lot of them, I would choose to have a relationship with them for free. Like if I
Oh,
wasn't
that's
getting
nice.
paid, and that matters, right? Who
It
you're in
does.
business with really, really matters. So it's just been continuing to look at that, and also I did it kind of backwards and I built the career first. I got financially free first, and then we started having babies. And and I love them to death and I want to spend as much time as I possibly can with them. And so I was going to have to choose. Did I want to continue real estate sales or coaching? But I don't have enough time that I'm willing to give the work component of my life
Hmm.
for both. And so it was pretty easy to choose the coaching because I get to be a part of thousands of transactions a year through my clients instead of the 100 to 150 I could have done myself.
Oh, that's really cool. I love the perspective. And I love that you're an older mom, because I was as well. And there's nothing better than going to the doctor's office and all I can do is talk about your geriatric pregnancy. And
Yep, it's
it's
so
like
fun.
you are monsters. You are monsters. And it's also cool too because your career gets a little more established and then you can kind of decide how you want your life to run, which is kind of cool too. So for all those
Well,
people thinking about it, you might want to get the career in order first and then everything kind of falls into place later if you want to have kids.
there's pros and cons to both, but for us, it was absolutely the right move. I look at the people who have to spend, their 50 to 60 hours a week in the office, and they're doing everything they can and their family's going to be just fine, right? It's the choice they have, but I'm grateful that I can put a cap on work and I can say, look, I would like to be working 20 to 25 hours a week and that's it.
Yeah.
And that produces the income that we need. And I can go spend tons more time with my kids. Like I just know that I'm going to blink and they'll be out of the house, and I'm going to be grateful that I got to spend some extra time with them.
Yeah, I have to admit though, I'm a little bit jealous of some people who are like in their 40s and their kids are out of the house already. Like, you have a whole new life. All right. So kids are definitely very important. Kid time is important, and I agree 100%. But I need to ask too, you got a very full day, you're changing the world, you're helping people have, sustainable lives. What is it you do personally to step out of that so you can recalibrate, so you can just kind of get back in there and do the work?
Yeah, lots of intentional time with the kids, and put my phone away. I am a walker. We moved to a neighborhood specifically that is connected to 3.2 miles of walking trails.
Oh, nice.
And it's like right smack dab in the middle of Fort Worth, but it doesn't feel like you're in the middle of a big city. And so that's fantastic. And then I would say, just totally to unwind, I like a good kind of a mystery book series
Yeah.
with nothing that's too dark. The good characters always win at the end, like nothing about villains conquering. Not too graphic, not too gory, but a little bit of like that mystery component, and then it always has a happy ending. That's
Very
for me.
nice. So a little bit of problem solving that you can hopefully
Yeah.
try and figure out the ending, knowing a
Yeah.
little bit that ending's going to be good. I love that. I love that. I had another question for you. Let me think what it was. But well, let me ask this. Are you following your own lead and doing your own investing as you go here?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah,
Good.
we've got what a lot of people would call a medium, maybe even a small size portfolio. We have 29 homes, and we're on a path
Wow.
now, which is really fun. In the next 3.5 years, they're all going to be paid off, which,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, it's been a lot of delayed gratification, and 3.5 years from now, man, I'm going to be able to do whatever the heck I want for the
Heck
rest
yeah,
of my
you
life.
can. And I'm going to assume that you have like a manager that helps with the maintenance and all that sort. I mean, it's not like you're not doing all that, are you?
Yeah, I have two property managers. I learned that pretty early on, that you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket, um, because all vendors, not just property managers, all vendors will get to a spot that for one reason or another they'll need to be replaced. And if you have put all of your eggs on just them, then you now have a
Oh,
big gaping hole. Yeah,
that's a good pro tip.
yeah, yeah.
And because of real estate licenses and things like that, are you able to can you only work locally or within your state, or can you work nationally?
Coaching, is that what you mean?
Yes, yes.
I can coach anyone. Yeah, I
Awesome.
can absolutely coach anyone. And I'm clear, if you've got a specific niche, or there's something specific about your local area that makes me not a good fit, just experience or knowledge
Mm-hmm,
wise,
mm-hmm.
I'm pretty clear about that. But there are very few parts of the country that I would say are unique enough that it doesn't make sense for us to be working together.
Very, very cool. And I think the last question I kind of have for you is, since you do have children, what sort of things are you doing with them that you might not have been doing in the past? Like you were talking about tea parties a lot. Are you back to doing tea parties? Or what sort of things are they getting you in? Like crafty things? Or are you putting on shows? I mean, I don't know.
Oh, that's a really good question. We spend a lot of our lives at parks.
Oh,
A lot.
nice.
We go to the park a lot. My almost 4-year-old is, we've started a curriculum, something like Teach Your Kid to Read in 100 days. And it's definitely taking us more than 100 days, but we're on lesson 18. And he's like, I just want mama school. Can we have some more mama school?
Oh, mama school.
That
That's
I have to be
lovely.
honest with you, I never ever would have imagined, but when we get through that curriculum and my 4-year-old is reading, that will have been hands down the best thing that I've ever done in my entire career. Like, I can tell you, I already am finding so much fulfillment in teaching him to read. So,
Oh
and
my
yes, I'm
gosh.
doing some tea parties. My daughter is too, so she's still just a little young for that, and I know there will be more of that in our future.
I love the part about the reading part. That is so, so cool. And again, it just really kind of touches your soul a little bit back with their teaching and you get to do like,
Totally.
I mean, just real teaching, which is so, so cool. I have had such pleasure talking with you. This has been lovely. And like I said, I learned so much. And I'm hoping that my listeners have learned a lot. And I will have all the information on how to get in touch with you in the notes. So if people are, doing, rocking it in real estate and you're like, well, wait a second, how do I start investing in for myself? They'll be able to get a hold of you. But I think what you're doing is really cool and really unique. So I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks. It was so good to get to talk with you as well.